Hello friends, I would like to welcome you to this discussion on quality assurance in open and distance learning. This module belongs to the unit of the course titled Educational Technology. It is expected that not only the learners of PG education but also other learners may have the interest in this topic. Here we are going to discuss the concept of open and distance learning, why the quality is important in open and distance learning, and various aspects of ODL where we have to ensure the quality for the satisfaction of all the stakeholders like learners, parents, employers and regulatory authorities. Let us begin with the concept of open and distance learning. What is ODL system and how it works? Open and distance learning system is globally accepted and recognized system of education which can accommodate a large number of learners to fulfill their dream of higher education. It can also increase the gross enrollment ratio of the country significantly. So, open and distance learning has the potential to include the excluded as well as to reach the unreached or unserved segment of the society. Due to inherent features of the flexibility of the ODL system, the system has now become a very popular system of education among all the age groups of people who want to pursue a degree while earning and also want to upgrade their knowledge because it gives an opportunity for lifelong learning. It is also useful for those workforce who want to remain relevant in the continuously changing job market. So, open and distance learning gives the opportunity for lifelong learning as well as to enhance their skill and competency for the relevant job market. So, how do we define the open and distance learning? We have seen the open and distance learning has many advantages. If we analyze the open and distance learning, we can get two phrases, open learning and distance learning. What is open learning? What do you mean by open learning? Very often we hear the concept of open learning. We can define the open learning as the philosophical concept which has some flexibility. Flexibility in terms of age, flexibility in terms of eligibility, flexibility in terms of course duration, and also in the examination system the learners enjoy some flexibility because the duration of the course is twice of the normal duration of the course. Suppose for UG course if it is 3 years, they will get 6 years to clear the UG degree programs. On the other hand, the distance learning. So, in the one hand the open learning, on the other hand it is distance learning. Distance learning is nothing but a methodology by which we can bridge the gap or distance between the learners and teachers and learners and institution. So, open and distance learning is a philosophical concept by which the education is being imparted by a methodology to bridge the gap between the teachers and learners. So, distance remains in the system. So, that is the question, how do we minimize the distance between the teachers and the students as well as between the institution and the learners. Since there is a distance, we have to try to minimize the gap. Here we have to see the importance of the ODL. Though it has gained the popularity in the higher education system, it has some limitations like limited scope of personal interaction with the teacher and peers, etc. So, to overcome these limitations, there are various ways of minimizing the distance in the ODL system. What are the methods by which we can minimize the distance between the teachers and the students? It is very scientific method. The open and distance learning is based on a very carefully designed delivery mechanism, the self-learning materials, and there is a provision of internal assignment. So, these are the methods by which we can minimize the gap between the student and teachers and also between the institution and the learners. We are discussing about the quality of the open and distance learning. So far, we have discussed the open and distance learning, its importance, why it has become more popular in the current days. So, quality matters. Now, come to the quality. How do you define the quality? It is very difficult to define, but easy to describe the quality. Quality is simply fitness for the purpose at a minimum cost to the society. That is, it means customer satisfaction with a product or its fitness for a particular purpose. So, if you analyze the concept of quality, it is simply the product or service which can satisfy us, which can meet our needs. For example, there are many brands of toothpaste in the market. The person concerned prefer any particular brand because the particular brand meets his or her need at the minimum cost. So, cost is also a factor. The higher cost does not mean that it will give a qualitative service or qualitative product. So, whenever we judge any product or service, we have to see whether that particular product or particular service meets our need. So, this is the quality. That is why I have already told that it is very difficult to define, but easy to describe the concept of quality. Now, the quality assurance. So, in any product or any service, we have to maintain a certain level of quality. That is the quality, we have to assure the quality whether that particular product or service is delivering its desired result or not to the customers. So, quality assurance, we have to ensure, we have to assure the quality of any product or service. So, quality assurance is a continuing process for maintaining and improving the quality. It is not a destination, but a journey, because for example, we have attained a certain level of quality. It is not that we will keep quiet that we have attained that quality benchmark. As soon as you achieve a certain level of quality benchmark, the quality benchmark will be increased. So, we have to chase that, we have to achieve that higher quality benchmark. That is why I call it is a journey, it is not a destination. Quality assurance is a culture because its journey never ends. So, we have to develop a culture of quality in an organization. It is very important to maintain and improve the quality of a product or service. We have to develop a culture of quality in the organization itself. Whenever we talk about quality in open and distance learning, it relates to both service and product. The criteria for quality product and quality service are distinct in their objectives because service is often invisible, cannot be stored, because service is only delivered to the satisfaction of the customers or the recipient. We cannot see the service. Whether service is qualitative or not, it can be proved whether the customer or the recipient is satisfied with that service. So, the open and distance learning has both type of parameters like the service and the product. What are the services and what are the products? Products means physical item. We can see the factors like factors that is visible. For example, self-learning materials, the students, the quality of teachers, the teachers itself can be categorized as visible factor in the system. On the other hand, service service is invisible. Service means student support services. Student support services is necessary for the distance learners who come from diverse background, because the age group of the open and distance learning system varies from 18 to 81. So, they come from various socioeconomic background also. So, we have to design the student support service in such a way they get the correct or desired level of services in the open and distance learning. So, the more it is accessible to learners, the greater is the degree of success of ODL. Now, we are talking about the quality assurance in the open and distance learning system. Let us see the possible interaction in the regular and open and distance learning. No one raised question about the quality of traditional system or regular system. Here, only possible interaction is a face-to-face interaction in the campus. Is this a hallmark of quality of the traditional system? Because no one raises the question of quality of the traditional system. But in ODL system, what are the possible interactions? Though there are some questions whether the quality is maintained or not in the ODL system. If only the interaction is the hallmark of the quality, we can see the possible interactions occur in the ODL system. What are the possible interactions? The face-to-face interaction, the synchronous interaction, that is the live, online live interaction, the asynchronous interaction, that is online, non-live, self-learning materials, printed and digital, and the internal assignment. So, these are the items through which we can interact with the learners. So, it is more than the traditional system in the ODL system. In the ODL system, we have numerous process, numerous system of interaction. These are the possible interactions with the student by which we can reach our thousands of students, because we have the provision of face-to-face counseling, that is the interaction, that we call it personal contact program, the synchronous interaction, that is an online live through LMS we can interact, through Google Meet, through Zoom we can interact, that is live interaction, asynchronous online, that is also online, non-live, but it also happens through the discussion forum in the learning management system. Self-learning material is very important in the open and distance learning system. Nowadays, the open and distance learning institutions are providing both printed and digital version of the self-learning materials. And there is a scope of internal assignment also. What is the provision of internal assignment? The internal assignments are conducted for giving the feedback to the students, to the learners, because during the course of study, the assignments are conducted. The assignment are submitted to their learner support centers and they get back their assignment after proper evaluation. So, during the evaluation, the evaluator give his or remarks for the improvement. So, there is also one type of communication between the student and the teachers. So, these are the possible factors, these are the possible ways of interaction in the ODL system. That is more than the traditional system. What we see in the traditional system, only on campus classroom teaching is happened in the traditional system or regular system. On the other hand, the ODL system has numerous number of interaction system. So, we cannot say that the only hallmark of quality is the classroom teaching. So, these are the basic difference between the traditional system and ODL system. So, by this time you have come to know that there are various activities involved in this open and distance learning system. At every level of operation, highly specialized person is required to maintain the quality of the ODL system, because there is a question, the general public has some questions about the quality of the ODL system, because ODL system is a combination of various activities from admission to exit. So, that is why that ODL system is also known as the industrial form of education. The concept of division of labor is very much relevant here, because the ODL system handles a mass. Thousands of students are getting admitted in the various programs of the open and distance learning institution. So, division of labor is very much relevant in the ODL system, because we oftenly call it is the industrial form of education. Why it is industrial form of education system? The ODL system handles mass, because we have to provide, the open and distance learning system has to provide the self learning materials for the thousands of students. So, there is involvement of mass production of self learning materials. It is not only limited to the printing or the production of the SLM. You have to distribute the SLM to each and every student. So, there must be some effective distribution channel. At the end of the program, you have to arrange the examination for a large number of examinees, and also the publication and printing of result cards for thousands of learners. So, open and distance learning is meant for the thousands of students, for the mass number of learners. That is why it is called the industrial form of education. The division of labor is very much important in the open and distance learning system, because there is involvement of mass production of SLM, effective distribution channel, arrangement of large number of examinees, and publication of printing of result card for thousands of learners. Therefore, the engagement of right person for the right job is very important, is very relevant to ensure the quality at every level of the ODL system. There are number of activities, there are number of operational aspects involved in the ODL system. If we do not engage the right person for the right job, we cannot say that quality is ensured or quality can be ensured in the ODL system. So, in the ODL system, since we handle a mass, and also there is a distance between the student and teachers and the students and the institution, we have to ensure the quality. We have to develop a culture of quality to satisfy our stakeholders. To satisfy our stakeholders like the students, the employers, the regulatory authorities, also the guardians, the parents. So, we have to ensure the quality at every level of activities. We have to develop a culture of quality in the educational system, that is the open and distance learning system. In this discussion, I have identified 4 areas. There are so many activities involved in the open and distance learning system, but for our discussion, I have identified only 4 areas where quality must be ensured in the ODL system to earn the confidence of the stakeholders. Because there is a doubt among the stakeholders. How do you maintain the quality to serve the thousands of people, thousands of the learners in the system? But there is a mechanism. It is a very scientific mechanism which can be employed, which can be applied to ensure the quality of the system, quality of the education under the open and distance learning system. Here I have identified in our discussion 4 areas, 4 very important areas like course curriculum, the teachers, the teaching learning, that is SLM and counseling, and the examinations. So, these are the 4 major areas I have identified for discussion. How do we ensure the quality in the system? First, we may discuss about the course curriculum. What is the course curriculum? Course curriculum which is transacted, which is imparted to the students. So, there is for a particular program, there is specific course curriculum, 3 years course or 2 years PG programs, 3 years UG programs currently. So, the course curriculum to be designed in such a way that it would be up to date and able to meet the socio-economic demand. And while designing the syllabi, the requirement for the industry has to be kept in mind. So, these are the major criteria, major factors which can be considered while developing a course curriculum. It should be up to date, it should be relevant to meet the socio-economic conditions or demand. At the same time, we have to consider the industrial requirement to include in the syllabi. In this aspect, I can say the program objectives, the program outcome, the course objective and course outcome should be clearly mentioned in the syllabus. So, a quality course curriculum should have these features to satisfy the stakeholders. Stakeholders means the students, the learners, the employers, the policymakers and also the regulatory authorities. So, course curriculum should be updated in regular interval to meet the socio-economic conditions or demand. Second one, we can think the quality of the teacher. Teacher's role is very important in any system, whether it is regular system or in the ODL system. But in the ODL system, we need more involvement from a teacher who are working in the open and distance learning system. Because teachers are the face of any institution, whether it is regular or ODL system. In the ODL system, there are core faculties. At the same time, we have to engage the academic counselors to meet the requirement of the thousands of students. So, the teachers or the counselor, whatever may be, have the multiple role in open and distance learning institution. There is a basic difference between the role of teachers in open and distance learning institution and role in the regular institution. In the open and distance learning institution, the teachers have to take more workload. They have to perform multifarious jobs. Their job role is something different from that of the regular university or regular institution. Sometimes they have to write the SLM, sometimes they have to set the paper, sometimes they have to be involved in the counseling sessions, sometimes they have to take part in the examination process. So, these are the major job role of the teacher in the open and distance learning institution. So, any freshers who have completed NET and PG or PhD may not serve properly in the open and distance learning institution. So, continuous training and orientation of the teachers are required for updating and refreshing their knowledge, especially working for the open and distance learning system. There is a guideline of UGC. Only UGC qualified teachers are engaged in the teaching of college and universities, but it is not enough for the teaching in open and distance learning system. So, some orientation is required for the open and distance learning institution. It is mandatory. Very often, the open and distance learning institutions conduct the orientation program, refresher program for the teachers who are specially working in the open and distance learning environment. They must have some knowledge in flipped classroom, they must have some knowledge about the face-to-face counseling, online counseling and also how to respond in the online discussion forum in the LMS. Because face-to-face counseling is not like regular teaching. It is an interactive method through which the teacher and student interact in the counseling session. We can say it is a doubt clearing session. In ideal situation, the students, the learners used to get the study material, they will come to the counseling session by reading their SLM. And if they have any doubt, they can discuss with the teachers or counselors present in the classroom or counseling session. So, this is the feature of the face-to-face counseling. So, in the open and distance learning system, the teacher must have some quality to handle the wide varieties of learners. They have to satisfy the students' queries, students' doubts. It is not the same as the traditional system classroom. So, they need some training, some orientation for ensuring the quality of the teacher. Now, come to the third point. The well designed course curriculum we have, the well qualified teachers we have. So, for the open and distance learning system, to facilitate the teaching learning, we have the well designed course curriculum which is updated and which also meet the industrial demand, and also we have the qualified teacher who can teach the updated curricula to the student. So, we have to now design the pedagogy, the methodology by which we can transact, we can reach our thousands of students with the course curriculum. So, the teachers, the well-trained teachers of the open and distance learning institution will provide the support to the students with a well-designed pedagogy. So, this is the teaching learning. Because in the open and distance learning system, we have seen that there is a distance between the teacher and the students. So, to overcome this obstacle, the ODL institution have to design the pedagogy and methodology to reaching its thousands of learners very carefully. In this regard, we can discuss about the teaching learning. What are the major components of the teaching learning? We have designed the course curriculum. We have a qualified and trained teachers, but it is not enough. Since there is a distance, we have to provide the self-learning material or self-instructional material. By its name, we can understand what does it mean. Self-learning materials is meant for self-motivated learners. Self-instructional material means we assume the teacher is present in the SLM. Whenever we open the SLM in front of us, we can assume the teacher is built in the SLM. The SLM is written in the dialectic form as if the teacher is present in the SLM, in the printed book. But the presentation of the SLM is something different from the textbook. So, it also needs some training, some orientation for writing the SLM. At the beginning, I have told that the teachers for the open and distance learning institution must have some training to work in this environment. So, writing of SLM is one of the important jobs of the teacher of ODLI. But it is not easy to write the SLM, they need some training, but because it is written in the dialectic form. So, the author of the textbook needs some training and orientation to write the SLM. While writing the SLM, the writer should remember a specific structure, what we follow in the open and distance learning institution. If you see the unit of any particular module, you can find it starts with the introduction, objectives, check your progress, and it ends with the summary, exercises and further readings. So, this is the common structure we find in the unit of self-learning materials. So, these are the unique feature of the SLM. The student can go through the SLM and they can understand what is written in the dialectic form. So, this is the third point. The fourth point I have identified in this module is the evaluation process, because any program, any course is judged with the product of the program, whether we have achieved the program outcome or course outcome, because we start with the program objectives. If you see the course curriculum, you can find that every syllabus starts with the program objectives and expected program outcome. So, how do you evaluate whether the program objectives have been achieved? For that purpose, we have the evaluation process. Evaluation is the most important part of any quality assurance program. We are talking about the quality, we are talking about the quality assurance. So, the end product, the students who are coming out from a particular program or particular course, we have to check whether they have attained a certain level of competency or certain level of knowledge. For that purpose, the evaluation is very important. Like any system, the open and distance learning system has also two parts. That is the continuous evaluation, which is known as the internal assignment, and the term end examination is held at the end of the program. It is equally important, because both the evaluation process, that is the continuous evaluation, that is the internal assignment, and the term end examination have the equal importance in the evaluation system. The entire process of evaluation, whether it is continuous or termed, should be handled very carefully and cautiously. And also you have to check whether all the stated learning outcomes of a program has achieved or not in the through the evaluation system. So the quality in the assessment we have to ensure. What are the quality? How do you ensure the quality of the assessment? We may say there are three types of assessment qualities which are essential for an effective assessment system. They are validity, reliability and fairness. So these three important qualities are to be maintained. For an assessment system to be valid, care should be taken to verify whether the purpose of assessment has been achieved or not. So here, whether the examination system or assessment system is valid or not, you have to check whether the purpose of the assessment has been achieved or not. Then comes reliability. Reliability entails the extent to which assessment is free from errors of measurement. Because in open and distance learning, thousands of students are appearing in the examination. So error-free result is very important. So error-free assessment system is treated as the reliable system. The last one is the fairness. Fairness in assessment speaks about the objectivity of the assessment and making assessment free of subjective judgment. So these are the three major criteria which can be ensured to make the assessment qualitative: the validity, the reliability and the fairness. In this module, we have so far discussed 4 areas of concern where we can ensure the quality to earn the confidence of the stakeholders. By this time, the UGC has published the regulations, namely UGC ODL programs and online programs regulation 2020. Here you will get a very important pertinent center, that is Center for Internal Quality Assurance. Every open and distance learning institution, whether it is open university or dual mode university, has to set up mandatorily the Center for Quality Assurance. Both the academic and administrative activities come under the purview of the CIQA, that is Center for Internal Quality Assurance, which can guide all the departments in the quality assurance practices, that is for opening learner support centers, introduction of new programs, preparation of self-learning materials, the examination process, how to prepare the project proposal report, etc., etc. So, if you are interested to know more about the quality and the quality assurance system of open and distance learning institution, you should go through the UGC Open Distance Learning Program and Online Program Regulation 2020. I hope you have understood the quality aspects, why it is so concerned in the open and distance learning system. I have tried to demonstrate the concept of open and distance learning, what are the important parameters, important factors which are important, and I have tried to demonstrate the important factors which are very relevant to ensure the quality in the open and distance learning system. Thank you.